Many years had passed since the Grand War had ended, and a human youth came upon their new homeland. He was a historian who indulged himself in the history of the Grand War. He believed there were pages missing from the story, and left on a journey in search of the truth. After making a huge discovery of the monsters' surviving existence, as well as learning the other half of the story, he insisted on welcoming them back to society. It took some time, but eventually they stepped out of hiding. So once again, the humans and monsters were living together, not in perfect harmony, but they were tolerable of one another. Many monsters took on jobs, like the humans did. Gaster and Alphys became doctors at a human-monster hospital, and Sans, who was the son of Gaster, became their assistant. While their once new home was left behind, the human historian decided to do some digging, and he came upon a secret vault containing dust samples of dead ones from the past with brief entries made by skeleton ancestors. The vault looked like it hadn't been touched for several years, so the human assumed it had been forgotten. He informed Gaster of the findings, and Gaster took possession of them. Gaster looked into his ancestors' theory, and grew with curiosity. He discussed the matter amongst Alphys and Sans. Alphys was hesitant on the theory, while Sans was downright rejectant of the idea altogether. He believed it to be dangerous and risky to play God, and found it disrespectful to be toying with the dead in experiments, so he refused to become involved in this theory. After much consideration, Alphys sided with him. Gaster respected their decision, but could not shake his own curiosity, and proceeded to do research and experiment alone. Being a doctor, he was able to understand more fully the difference between human and monster body and how they functioned. He learned of a human body persisting after death through determination. At first, he combined a sample of dust with a sample of determination, but nothing happened. It seemed that the dust needed a living vessel to maintain stability, so he decided to use his own body as the vessel and injected a dosage in increments. He did not notice any changes until he injected enough that ultimately affected his physicality, and a voice clouded his head. He was losing consciousness of himself. Back home, Sans received an urgent call from Alphys, asking that he come see her right away. He left his brother and hurried over, only to find his father was no longer his father, but now possessed by a deranged Vengade. Gaster spotted Sans. He trapped Sans and forced a fresh dosage of another dead monster plus determination into him, against his will. Sans struggled, and finally broke free from Gaster. What happened afterwards, only the Void really knows. It's not quite sure what exactly went by. But after the whole fiasco, Sans asked Alphys to never talk about this to anyone, and to have the remaining dust be buried. He did not think much about the small doses he received in his soul, because he felt completely normal. It was near sundown, and Papyrus was waiting for him in his room for Sans to pick out a bedtime story for him to read. Sans was about to pull out a book from downstairs when he felt a sudden pain in his soul and lost consciousness. By morning, he awoke someplace he did not remember ever going to, covered in blood. This is only a beginning. He ran away that day. But you guys can talk to him right now. Him and his other passenger. But remember, please support the original artist. I'm just the one who voices said artist. Alright, I'll take it over to V. Hey V Sans, you're adorable. Can we go on a date?
Date? I think you'd be better off with someone better than me. Maybe someone with a little more meat on their bones. Besides, I don't know who you are. You're anonymous.
V Sans, I think it's poisonous.
What? The Kool-Aid?
Leaves a note, because I'm too shy to say. Hello Trish and V Sans, I hope you both have a nice day. And V, you're fantastic.
Reads note with an asterisk.
Oh, another shy one. Love it. Thanks, bud. You too.
V Sans, when you turn into a vampire at night, where do you usually go? By the way, I love your art style, V Sans.
I have no idea. It's all a blur by the time it becomes night. It's like I suddenly fall unconscious every sundown. When I wake up next morning, I sometimes find myself lost. I even caught myself nearly hurting someone. I'm sorry, I wish I knew, and I wish I had full consciousness of my actions, but it's pretty much a mystery at this point.
Wait! B-Sans! You're answering the questions in morning, right? Not at night, right? Because we wouldn't want you to change.
Yes, it is still daytime here. I've only been answering around daytime so far.
B-Sans, can I have a hug?
A hug? Sure, I can do that. We'll have to make it quick. It's nearly sundown here.
Opens his arms to give Anon a hug with an asterisk.
Dear B-Sans, you have been invited to Split Swap's first ever multiverse party. RSVP by October 25th if you wish to attend. And even if you don't come, here's a bag of cherry candies. Split Swap as real.
Wow, a party? And I'm invited? Gee, I don't know. It could be dangerous, especially if the party takes place at night, and I won't remember any of it. But as long as there are no humans around, I think it might be okay.
Well, how about we call you Faris? Would that be okay? It means stone in Greek and English, and horseman/knight in Arabic. It's just an idea.
That does sound pretty good. You may refer to me as such, if you wish.
Can these Sans please kill me? I want to disappear.
What's this? Someone asking for me? I'd be more than happy to oblige. I promise your blood will not be wasted.
Oh, are you alright, V?
I was slapped again. And don't call me V. That is my host nickname he's given himself, and I hate it.
Oi, Faris! I got a joke for you. Why don't the human like vampires? Because they're a pain in the neck!
If my host was aware of all this, he'd be laughing his ass off. Oh wait, he doesn't have one cause he's a freaking skeleton. I wish I had a different host. His awful jokes are rubbing off on me.
Faris, nice to meet you. Just a friendly wizard. Summons chair out on the floor, and you can see a magic circle where it came from, and it disappears.
Huh, impressive.
Faris, I understand the terrible things humans have done. I would like to sacrifice myself for those Fengate who perished during the war. Will you accept?
Why do you care? Aren't you a human yourself?
Faris, not all humans are the same. I bet some were against the war and tried to stop it, but were killed too by humans. I'm not going to defend them, because this is much the result of our ancestors' bad actions. I'm sorry of what they took away.
What Anon said about some humans not wanting war seemed to trigger something.